This episode is brought to you by Mr. Sharp. Mr. Sharp Knives and Sharpening offers commercial and residential mobile knife sharpening services to the Los Angeles and Orange County areas. Go visit their website at www.themrsharp.com. Sister C.
Brotha Adam.
What's going on?
What's up, my guy?
We back at it. How you feeling?
Back at it. Feeling all right. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, actually. I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go right now.
Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Here we are. So, okay, topic of the week. We are talking about the importance of having some drive, being a go-getter, not being lazy, not being passive, because one of the things that is coming up a lot is how inflation is getting out of control. Like, you look at wages compared to how much rent is and how much goods and services are. There's a big gap right now, and it seems to be getting wider.
Yeah.
Outside costs a lot, see?
Outside costs a lot, and I'm in the midst of it, especially if you're trying to move or look for a place.
Yes.
You are really seeing it.
Yeah.
You are seeing it when you go to the grocery store and go shopping.
Listen,
you're seeing it.
We always joke around, but it literally costs I feel like it costs about $200 to leave the crib right now.
Oh, you marking at 200?
Where do you think how much does it cost to leave the house?
I'm going
you want to go out, have a good time?
I'm going between 2 and 5.
That's probably more accurate.
Because I'm the type of person, we go outside, I'm the person that's buying everybody some shots. I go first round shots, and I see everybody's face like, oh, y'all feeling good?
Big spender.
And then I'll be like, come on with another round.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a quick story on that. I went to Miami just a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
We go to the bars outside on the little Miami Strip.
Okay.
My same old usual. I'm up here like,
I like the picture you're painting. This is good. I mean, this is big vibes. Big vibes.
I'm saying, okay, y'all want some shots? It was about 4 of us.
Okay.
I got everybody some shots, not thinking nothing of it. In the back of your head, you kind of already know the numbers.
You calculating?
You like calculating, like, this cool. Then we get our shots, same thing. I'm up here like, you know what? Get us another round.
Oof.
In my mind,
you're feeling good.
Because I do this often. I'm okay with it. I'm thinking like, at home, this will cost me about $120 somewhere in there.
Okay.
I'm thinking 4 people, kind of roughing it around, 120, 150 with the tax. You know what I'm saying? So, and I pay the bill. Okay. So, I get it's time to go.
They bring that bill over.
They bring out that bill. Ooh. That bill came. I looked at it, almost threw that bill back at that lady. Really? Like, y'all had this bill back now.
Did they hit you over the head?
Man, that bill was almost $300. The bill was almost $300. It wasn't nothing you could do. The shot is already in your system. Everybody drinking. People going to the bathroom already. It's over.
Yeah.
It hit me over the head so bad. I said, never again. It's over.
Listen, if you got it, I respect the people that got it. If you got it and you could do that, cool.
I felt like I did.
Yeah. I mean, you did do it. But for those of us that have to kind of be responsible with our spending, we can't. Those moments, I feel like we can't be doing that every weekend the way we used to be.
No, it's over.
But when we were having this discussion about doing this this topic, we came up with I feel is like a pretty good acronym. We came up with ACTIVE.
Yes.
And active can mean so many things. But when you think about when you wake up in the morning, you pretty much have to get active if you're trying to get to the bread.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. The acronym we came up with was pretty dope. It matches it perfectly.
Right. What do you think right now if you were just talking to people, talking to our audience, what's the danger of being lazy right now?
You're going to be broke.
Yeah.
No money.
I think homelessness is a real fear right now. I mean, in LA, we see it. It's just more and more of them popping up.
Yeah.
You really have to try to put some distance between you and homelessness. And you can't do that being lazy.
I feel like the average person that might be listening, though, in their situations, I feel like they won't put themselves in a situation where they might end up on the street. Mm-hmm. They might find themselves where they have to go move back in with moms.
Okay.
Move back in with
That's
pops.
Fair. Yeah.
Or go move in with a friend or family member or whatnot. I will hope nobody gets to the point where they have to live out on the street. And if you are in that situation, I pray to God that, you find some help, some resources to help you get through this, because we all going through it.
For sure.
We are all going through it.
You had mentioned that once in conversation, how you feel like things are changing right now to where families may have to start living together again, and that should be okay. And I agree with you. I thought that was such a great point that you had made. Let's get to this acronym. So ACTIVE, A-C-T-I-V-E.
Okay. A is for what?
A is for accountability.
C is for what?
C is for commitment.
T is for what?
T is for tenacious.
I is for what?
I is for integrity.
V is for what?
V is for voraciousness.
And E is for what?
So we got a few E's. It's like effort. It's expectations. It's a lot of things. Let's start with accountability. How do you, like, when you think about being a go-getter, how does accountability fit in for you?
You have to be responsible for yourself. You know, being accountable is such a, people don't get it, you know? And then accountability could go in so many directions because you could be fighting for something, you could be going for something. And let's say you get a job, or prime example, you might be an assistant to someone, and they are counting on you to do A, B, and C, right? And you start to realize that A, B, and C is really hard. Okay. You know, and then you might get to the point where you're at A and B and you feel extremely stressed out. Yeah. But you know, C is right there. And then, you know, we have that thing called self-sabotage. Yeah. You'll see it right there. And you'll be so deep in it, the water could feel like it's up to your chin, and at any moment you feel like you want to drown. But you gotta keep swimming and you gotta get to sea. But when that self-sabotage kick in, where you just can't handle the stress and you can't handle the pressure, some people would just drown themselves and give up. So being able to hold yourself accountable it sounds easy to do, but it could be really, really hard. It could be really trying. It could be really stressful. And that's something that you have to dig down in yourself to find it. You do have to be kind of like a self-starter or self-motivated. When I think about accountability, for me, it's like I keep thinking about nobody's coming to save you. Ooh. If you're a person that you can't provide shelter for yourself, feed yourself, like that's a scary place to be in. I hope you have a support system or a family structure that's like where you could lean on them if you need to, kind of like what we were mentioning. But like for accountability, it is really on you to come and to save you, because nobody's coming. Like there's no superheroes out here saying, hey, let me take care of you. No. And there's certain situations where that might happen in terms of like marriage or dating. Like sometimes you end up finding the right person and it's like they change your life. But dependency is like a scary thing for me. Like I never want to be so dependent on someone that like to take care of me that I can't take care of myself. It's a scary place to be in. But so that's what I'm sorry not to cut you off, but that's kind of where we're living at right now. That's the time we're living in. Yeah. Well, we're just talking about inflation and things being so high. Right. The average person at a job right now can only they make maybe about $40,000-$50,000. Listen. And right now I'm literally on the rental market, and I'm on the purchasing market. I'm going between the two because I've been trying to figure out, damn, do I buy? Do I rent? Right. And I'm starting to see and look at things, and I'm like, how are people even able to afford just livelihood? A 3-bedroom here in California, we looking at about almost between $3,800 and $4,500 easy. That's crazy. And they want you to show 3 times the rent. Right. That's over $150,000 annually that you have to make. Who is making that kind of money? Yeah, and I don't think it's a lot of people. So that's when you have to like be either partnered up with somebody, or these families have to start working together to like make things work. We don't even know how to do that. We don't, unfortunately. Like community, know how to do that. Yeah, community is one of those things that like it needs to be discussed more, talked about more, and definitely more valued. We need to start focusing on that way more. So accountability. You need to be able to get up and go. Absolutely. No laziness, no procrastination. None of that. C, commitment. Commitment. If you say you're going to do it, you have to do it. Talk about it. If you say, hey, you know what? I got this business idea. Yeah. I'm really feeling it. I like where it's taking my mind. I like where it's taking my thoughts. I really dig this. Yeah. Now you have to commit yourself to it. You have to say, okay, and I'm a pen and paper type of girl. I love to get a pen and a pad, and I like jotting down. Okay, I want to do this, and now I'm going to jot down everything that needs to be done for me to get this. I'm going to commit to doing this. Right. I'm going to commit to building this podcast. Yeah. I know I need this, that. And I'm going to do it because now I'm telling everybody I'm going to do it. And that's where accountability comes in too. Because once you start telling people you're going to do it.
And you don't, they're going to be calling you out.
They're going to be like, oh, you said you was going to do this. Don't look like you doing it. Now you're looking at yourself like, damn, I said I was going to do this and I didn't even do it. Mm-hmm. That's part of accountability, holding yourself accountable for a commitment that you make to yourself.
Yeah. So one of the things I admire about you is I see how when you get committed to something, you kind of like see it through. It's a great quality to have. With commitment, we also put down consistency. So we kind of had 2 C's. We put both of those together. Mm-hmm. I like commitment because, like you said, you definitely need to follow through with it. Mm-hmm. And then the consistency piece is so important because you got to keep at it. It's like whether, you're trying to go to college or you're learning a skill to get a job, or like you said, you're trying to start a new business or create another income stream. Yeah. Like, you have to be consistent at it. And I feel like it's easy to get discouraged sometimes.
Absolutely.
Because I do that. It happens to me where it's like, I want to try something new or a new endeavor, and maybe it's not moving at the pace I want it to. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I start to fall back, and then you're not doing it anymore.
One of the main things with that is distractions.
Ooh.
Being consistent at anything is really hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't see the production of it on a daily basis. One thing about consistency, you have to do it every day, because you could be working out, right? Yeah. And you start on that first day, you be like, you stand on that scale, you be like, damn, that number ain't changed. Damn.
Exactly.
Then you go on the next day, and still ain't changed, but you still going to the gym. Right. Third day, man, I'm not really seeing what's going on. Then you drive by the street, you be like, oh, is that Chick-fil-A?
Right.
There's that distraction. Because you like, oh, I'm not losing weight, no way. What's the point? Yeah, you know what I mean? But you got to stay at it. Yeah. Because if you stay at it with working out, eventually you're going to look in the mirror 6 months later, down the line, 9 months later, and you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, wow, look at me. Look how much I progressed.
Absolutely.
My body looks great. That's because you stay consistent.
Right. But and that's the payoff for that consistent and
but if you get
or was it consistent commitment?
Consistent commitment.
But also with working out, even school. So I feel like school was one of those things that teaches you how to stay committed to something and see it through. Because when you graduate and you finish, right? Mm-hmm. With you, it was like the electrician. Mm-hmm. With me, as college. With other people, it could be it could be a trade. It could be something else, where maybe you're just working on a certificate, right? Yeah. But once you see that commitment through, it's like usually really rewarding, because you're like, oh God, I got to the finish line finally, right? It's like all that work I put in, like here's this payoff now,
right? So one thing I feel about that too, and I know people go through it a lot, is they do commit to something, right? And they go through it, and sometimes you commit to something that you realize you might not really like it, right? But don't beat yourself up. I know a lot of people who may beat themselves up because they went through something and they figured out that was something they really didn't want to do. But the rewarding part of it at the end is to be able to say, you know what? I tried it. Mm-hmm. I went through it. I did all the steps that I needed to do to possibly gain this thing you committed to. Yeah. It just didn't work out.
Right.
But it's still rewarding to say, like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah. I mean, there's still valuable lessons learned in committing to things and working hard at something and it not work out. Like usually there's still some positive takeaways, right? You might be not even a little, but you'd probably be disappointed that it didn't work out the way you hoped it would.
Right.
But I think of situations like that where I've committed to this thing, it didn't work out, but most of the time you take some lesson from it.
Absolutely.
Even if you try it again, a better way to approach it now.
Even with that.
Yeah.
You did go through it. Somebody else might come down the line and they're going through it.
Yeah.
Now you put yourself in a situation where you can mentor that person to a certain extent.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Right? And you were able to tell, like, hey, I went through this program. It was kind of, didn't really like it, but go this way. You may like it. Part of the program, you're going to learn this. I recommend that you do this while you're in this program. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you find yourself in a position where you're able to teach something and you listen at yourself like, damn, I just taught that. Right? Even though you're not doing it, but you educated yourself in that area, and now you could teach somebody else, and that skill that you learned, you're able to teach it to somebody else. That's valuable.
No, listen, there you go. Like dope, there was some positive in something that didn't maybe work out the way you had hoped it to, but you found some positive. Moving on to T, tenacious. I like that one because it reminds me of sports where you hooped. Basketball coaches always say you gotta have some tenacity out there.
Yeah, you do.
Tenacious, I feel like it will help you get committed and get consistent.
Yes.
How do you look at tenacious?
Same.
Yeah.
You know, I think it all comes down to the hunger. You know, you have to be hungry for it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
That makes me. It's beat when you talk about basketball.
Yeah. You got to go beast mode at some point.
Immediately make you think about
right.
beast. Like, oh, okay, you got to. And if you're not hungry, you're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it. Period. If you're not serious about what you're committing yourself to, you're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
It's no way you're gonna be consistent at it. Right. You got to be eager to get out there and say, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna get it done.
Right.
You got to same thing. You get out on that court. Offense may be trash, but you might come out on defense and go straight beast mode on them. Go to work. And you're like, damn, I ain't even a defensive player, but I went out there and gave it to him.
So when I think about tenacious, to me it really sounds like it's like effort. Like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, and I need to give it maximum effort in order for this thing to work out. So that tenacious, I think it's like, for someone that's like, okay, in a hardship, I need to dig myself out of a hole, and I'm either gonna go to this program and get a degree or get a certificate or try to work for this new job. Like, there's competition out there right now because there's a lot of us in the same boat. And if you have if you have a situation where you're trying to go after a job, you got to know that there's probably 30, 40 people applying for that same position.
Absolutely.
I think tenacity is stand out. If someone sees how eager you are, to your point, right?
Yeah.
Or see how hard you're going, they can be like, I want to hire that guy or girl.
I want her.
Yeah.
I want her on my squad.
Right.
And that's what comes with defense.
Exactly.
That's why I tell them all the time, it's not all about what you can do on offense.
Yeah.
You got to be able to show the coach that you could bust down and get busy on defense.
Right.
When you show that you really able to help, you could dribble.
Yeah.
You could get the ball in the hoop. You might be able to do it, but when you failing on offense and you come back and you giving up mad D, pause. You know what I mean? Hey, coach is gonna be like, keep her or him in the game. Right.
Effort or tenacity is one of those things that it always stands out, and it doesn't matter if it's like sports or the corporate world, anything. It's one of those like qualities that always stands out. Like we could watch a game right now. You'd be like, that one person's going harder than everybody else out there.
True.
It's always an identifiable quality.
Yeah.
I love that.
True.
Let's go to this I, which is a tricky one.
All
Integrity. Right. Integrity, which is a super important thing right now. We were talking earlier, and it seems like a lot of people are trying to get to the money fast. And I don't know if it's because like times are so hard right now, but people are willing to jeopardize their freedom for like a quick bag.
People looking for the cheat code.
Is that what that is?
It's almost like you're looking for a cheat code. At the end of the day, the work has to be put in.
It does.
If you don't put in the work, reaping the rewards for if you don't have integrity, it's not going to last. It's going to get snatched away from you very fast.
That, and then there's a lot of risk when you start to do things and you're lacking integrity because you're starting to like now go into possibly something that's maybe illegal, maybe shady. And even if you don't end up in a situation where you've compromised your freedom, I don't know about you, but like I feel like the energy you put out is the energy you get back. Yeah. If you out there kind of like doing shady or taking advantage of people, like you don't have any integrity at all, I don't know. I think you're going to get some of that negative energy back.
I'm a firm believer of karma.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
What you do in the streets it's dirty, it's going to come back to you tenfold for sure.
Okay.
It's going to rear end you so fast.
Yeah.
And what I have in integrity are you doing things out in the streets. That shit just don't affect you. That's part of what we were talking about earlier. It just don't affect you. Now you're putting your family
you are
in a situation where your mom, dad, wife, husband,
right,
they're all going to be affected by your actions, especially if they're done without integrity. So having integrity in anything you do is so important. It's valuable, you know, because I couldn't tell you right now, it was a situation at work where, it was some shady stuff going on, but people was figuring out a way to get to the bag. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm one person away and saying, hey, you could get a quick 10,000 if you do this. Yeah. I'm like, shit. Quick 10? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it was going to be jeopardizing my job, my work. And then at that, I lose my job. I lose everything.
And that's big when like integrity, you're also identifying like what the loss is going to look like we've all had to like take a loss or hold the L, but sometimes you're gonna hold the biggest L if you're like moving without integrity. Yeah. What do you think was something where like when did you learn that, or you felt like, I know I'm not just gonna be out here doing stuff to try to like cheat the system or or not even cheat the system, but just do things where it's like it's shady. It's not treating people good. One of the other things that I realized too with integrity, relationships are huge. Like when we talk about active, I know ours not in there, but relationships and building good relationships with people is super important to like accomplishing goals and being a go-getter. And so if you're moving without integrity, people are going to notice that and they're going to stay away from you.
There go that relationship.
Yeah.
You blew that bridge.
When did you felt like you learned that, or did you just always have it in you?
No, you know what? I didn't feel like I learned it until, you know what? I've actually learned integrity dating.
Did you really?
Through dating.
Okay.
Because, I mean, being a youngster going through stuff in life, I could have my dirty moments where I wasn't showing integrity to my partner.
Right. No, for sure. I mean? Yep.
And I've started to learn early on that the things that I did to people would just kick me right back in my ass.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You know, I'd just turn back around on me and be like,
There's that karma you mentioned.
Yeah, I don't like the way that feels.
Yeah.
So I kind of roll with that through life, through business, my business deals, through my relationships with people, my partners. I just kind of said, you know what, I'm going to just go on the basis of integrity, keep a bow and arrow.
Right.
Do people right. They should do right by me, you know? And that's kind of how I ran
It feels good, too, when you're moving like that because you're not carrying guilt with you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? When you're moving with integrity, like you feel like I knew I was solid in the situation. If it goes left or somebody feels a certain way, I know I was moving with integrity. So
I agree to that.
There's a lot of guilt free and it feels good.
I can agree to that.
The V, voracious.
The V.
Which I like. You mentioned hunger, and that's kind of like what voraciousness is. Like there's moving out of desperation, right? Mm-hmm. Then there's also moving out of hunger. I don't know if they're one and the same. Sometimes that desperation makes you hungry. Look, if you're out here struggling right now, most times you're going to be hungry. Yep. And that hunger, you could use that as a drive.
But if you're out there too hungry, using desperate, that's kind of where we go back into that I.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
We go into that I.
Yeah.
And that integrity can get real tested.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
It can get tested.
Well, yeah, when you're in desperation, you're right. You're right.
You have to be able to notice, yes, I'm hungry. Yes, I'm eager. Yes, I need this.
Right.
I need the bag right now. I need the bag. But that's where that integrity come back in, because you could find yourself going down a path that is the wrong path because you're so hungry, you're so eager, you want that bag so bad, you want to go hit this lick real quick.
Oh, gotcha.
To get it.
Yeah.
Pull yourself out of that.
Yeah.
Pull yourself out of that. Figure out a way. Start thinking to yourself, what do you want? I feel like people need to think about, what do you want? Where do you see yourself happy at? If you were to get a job and you hate your job and you want to quit your job so bad right now, like, I don't want to be here, that's the time where you need to start thinking to yourself, what do I want to do? If I quit my job today, what do I want to do for myself? How can I find the hunger? How can I be eager in that? And that's where it really matters to me. That's where you dig in that eager, and then that hunger kick in, that desperation come in. Like, I'm not going back to that 9 to 5.
Exactly.
I'm about to show you what I could really do. I'm about to be voracious about this.
When I think about voracious, I think about like how you almost have to have your main job, and a lot of people have to have side hustles right now.
Oh, absolutely.
And that side hustle, I feel like those side hustles are kind of birthed out of voraciousness, where it's like, man, I'm hungry. I got to get out here and get it. Yeah. So let me work on this. While I have my main job, let me work on this other thing too, to try to like create another income stream.
But with that, I feel like that side hustle, we have to have the mentality too now, just with having a side hustle. How can that side hustle be my main hustle?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people eventually, a lot of people don't want to work no more, to go back to what I said earlier.
A lot of people don't want to work. I'm going to hit you with this one though. And then also, we're dependent on our employer, low key.
Absolutely.
Even though we're working and we're showing up like we're supposed to, if they decide to fire us, it ain't nothing we could do about it. So you're technically in that situation where you are dependent on someone to feed you.
Yeah.
So when you talk about establishing that side hustle to make the main, I like that too, because then it's like you're kind of controlling your own fate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree to that.
This episode is brought to you by Mr. Sharp. Mr. Sharp Knives and Sharpening offers commercial and residential mobile knife sharpening services to the Los Angeles and Orange County areas. Go visit their website at www.themrsharp.com. So one of the things I like about voraciousness and having that hunger is I heard an interview with Chris Paul recently, and he was talking about like stacking days. Like the more you work at something, the closer you get to that goal. The closer you get to like the destination that you're aiming for. And I don't think you could really get there without having that drive and that hunger to do that. It's really easy to procrastinate. That was like one of my biggest problems is like, I'll want to do something or try something, and then I'll end up procrastinating to the point where like it's not getting done. So then it's like, how much do you really want it?
Yeah. Are you willing to pay the price for it?
Yeah.
Are you willing to pay the price for it? Are you willing to do what's necessary to get what you need out of whatever you're putting effort to?
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Like, no,
you gotta you gotta look in the mirror and ask yourself those things.
Are you willing to do it? Because you'll get tested. To go back to the 9 to 5, because I know a lot of people who may be listening are in situations where they want to quit their job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They want to leave their job, so I keep bringing it up. But are you willing to pay the price of leaving your job? Are you willing to stack every day?
Yeah.
Every day, because it's a consistent battle every day that you have to show up for.
Yeah.
You got to be accountable for showing up every day to that. So the urgency, you got to be urgent about it, and you got to mean it. You really got to mean it. And if you don't mean it, you got to have a serious conversation with yourself like, I better go on and clock in tomorrow. Let me go on to work. It ain't really time yet. You got to think about that vacation that you like to take every year. I like to take a vacation every year.
Yeah, you do. You live.
The moment you decide to leave your 9 to 5, you are jeopardizing saying, hey, all right, I'm ready. I'm not going to take this vacation next year. Yeah, you got to start having these serious conversations with yourself, because come next year and start building around, you start getting hungry. You're like, oh, I'm ready to go on vacation. You can't do it.
What about these youngsters right now that are like finishing high school and trying to figure out life? And for them, it's not about quitting the 9 to 5. It's just about just getting the ball rolling. Ooh. What is it?
They're like, having a hard time.
And what do you think? What would you tell that person? Like, hey, like I'm trying. Nothing seems to be working out. It's like, well, how hard are you really going after it? Right? Yeah. That's where like I feel like talking about being honest with yourself. Like if they always say comparison is a thief of joy, right? And we live in a time with social media where you open up social media, it seems like everybody's winning. Yeah. And so you start comparing your life to theirs, and
it's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, you start falling into this depression. I'm going to challenge that statement and say I feel like an accurate comparison kind of gives you some perspective in where you're at in life. For an example, if I'm comparing myself to another, black man, it's in his early 40s, that had both parents at home, come from the same socioeconomic conditions. Like we've had the same opportunities, and he's doing way better than I am. I'm the type of person where it's like, let me tap in and see what he was doing and what choices he made to get him going.
Yeah. It's safe to say that you could follow that guy. Follow his moves.
Something, or you're right, learn something from him. So like, I might feel a type of way like I should be doing more because he's winning right now, and I'm not, so to speak.
But as a young person, because bring back to what you were saying about a young person, how do you get a young person to realize that that's what they need to do? That they need to hone down and watch. How many times have you gone on Instagram and just got caught up in a rabbit hole of just looking at videos, scanning stuff that don't even matter? Right? You have to be able to hone in. That youngster have to be able to hone in and go to that person that they look up to, who they would like to mimic their lifestyle, and you kind of got to watch them a little bit. You might even sometimes have to drop in a DM. There's nothing wrong with dropping in somebody's DM of somebody that you admire, somebody's life that you would look up to, and you might just reach out and be like, hey, you might get a mentor. Yeah. And there go your mentor right there. And that person that you reach out to probably in their mind was like, I wish a kid would reach out to me. Yeah. I want to tell you some of the things you need to do to get ahead. Let me tell you exactly what I did. Right. As a youngster, you got to appreciate that. But as a youngster, you got to get out your own head and thinking you know everything.
Right.
And start listening. You got to start listening to the old heads, youngsters. Trying to tell you something.
So our last letter, E, we're talking about effort. We're talking about like beneficent. And then the one that I liked was expectations. So talking about the young kids and some of the things we were saying right now, I think for anybody trying to get someplace or trying to accomplish a goal right now, your effort needs to match your expectations.
Okay.
If you're expecting to lose 20, 30 pounds right now, but you on the couch watching TV all the time, still eating fast food, like work out here and there, but then you go to the gym, it's like a quick 20 minutes on the elliptical and I'm out of there. Your effort is not matching your expectations. At all. It's the same for the kid where you're talking about now, where it's like, okay, if your whole life is video games or, you know, hanging out with your friends, you're online just BSing.
Yeah.
But you're, you know, saying that you want to get this job or make this money, doing whatever, taking on this new endeavor. Like, where's the effort?
Where's the effort?
Like, it's all lip service. At some point, we need to see action.
How do you get these youngsters to put in action? What do you recommend? What do you recommend to a youngster that's stuck on a video game, just graduated high school, not sure which way to go? They don't really know about college. They don't even know where to go. What do you recommend? What do you tell them? How do you lead them in that right direction?
I tell them to get active.
Get active.
I tell them
absolutely.
I tell them like it's not gonna happen if you're not putting some effort in, if you're not taking some action, if you're not being accountable, right? If you're not like being tenacious, like you have to get up and go at some point because nobody's coming, and you better hope that like you're in a situation where you have good parents that are gonna take care of you for a long time. But if you don't have that, you are the main one that have to get it going. And that's for youngsters. That's for people in our situations that are in their 40s and, okay, maybe you're starting to feel the inflation. Maybe this is starting to get hard and hit you over the head. Yeah. Well, is your plan then to stay in your same situation forever? Or do you start looking at like what other opportunities are out there?
What can I do?
But it's not going to happen if you're just being passive and not like not making any effort to like change or do anything. And that's where I feel like expectations and effort need to be aligned. Absolutely. Because lip service is easy. We all do it. I've done lip service so much where it's like, I'm going to do this, and this, and then I put no effort behind it.
People get tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. People get tired of hearing, you saying you doing this again. I got a ton of ideas. My ideas could go, I'm out the water with ideas, right?
Are you a dreamer?
I am.
Okay.
I am. But one thing about my ideas, I actually put them into action.
Yeah.
I go in active mode immediately. If I feel
so
like
you execute?
So not
throw
all
another
the time.
E. Okay, I'm gonna say we throw another E in there.
No, I don't. Not all the time, because in the midst of going after what I'm dreaming about or that idea, I start to, and I'm a builder. Like if I am going to build it from the ground up. I'm going to do everything I need to do, and sometimes that's where it starts slapping you in the face. You start realizing like, ooh, I don't think I want to do this.
Oh, gotcha.
You know,
yeah.
I bring back to the example of the stock market and learning stocks and wanting to invest. And I remember I was going in hard, like, I want to learn how to do stocks. I want to be a day trader. Right. I want to really learn this. Yeah. And I started really getting involved in learning it and made some money along the way. And I started to realize that this takes a lot of work. Yeah. It takes a lot of work. You got to be up early in the morning. Yeah. You got to be, especially for a day trader. Right. You have to be involved, because the moment you slack up, you could possibly lose everything. Right. Just because you slept that day, because you didn't feel like getting up. And, oh, man, I threw myself out of there so fast. I was like, I'm not doing that. Yeah. Right? But that was an idea I had. I thought I could be successful at it, in which I probably could have been if I was serious about it. But it took consistency that I would have needed to have. For sure. I would have to be eager about it. I had to be hungry about it.
There you go.
And that's when you got to start being real with yourself about the stuff that you know that you are not capable of doing. Yeah. And that's what it really was. Like, hey, you know what? I tried it. I thought I could do it, but I'm not hungry enough for it.
Gotcha.
That's the reality checks that you have to have with yourself. And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay to not do it.
I like that you said it's okay. I think don't don't get so discouraged in failures that you don't try again.
Yeah.
Right? That's the one thing when you talk about giving a young person advice or even somebody, an adult advice, like if you try something that doesn't work out, don't just throw it out the window. Just throw everything out the window. Be like, I'm just going to go back to doing the same old thing because I tried something and it didn't work.
Are you worried about what you worried about what other people may think of you?
Oh yeah. Okay.
You worried about the wrong things. You worried because you went through something, you failed, and now you worried about what people think about you. Oh, look at that failure just walking by. So you go tuck back in your shell and you go back to working your regular 9 to 5, or you're not going after your goals because you worried about what people think of you.
Yeah.
You worried about people judging you. They don't matter.
They don't.
They don't matter. they who cares what they think? Who cares what they may think of you? So what?
Yeah.
If you got another idea tomorrow, that's why I don't. I'm the type of person, I don't care how nobody feels about me having my ideas. I will never let anybody kill my joy of my ideas, and I have a ton of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I could care less if somebody's like, oh, here you go with nothing. I don't care. At least, hey, I'm going after it. I'm chasing it.
Have you ever been able to pay any of your bills with someone's opinions?
No.
That's interesting.
Not one. I like that.
You know, the other thing too is like you can't pay bills with excuses either. No, I've never been able to pay a bill with excuse.
No, you can't.
So those are the things I feel like people should keep in mind. Like, hey, like if it doesn't work out, it's not over permanently. Try something different. Pivot. Don't worry about the opinions of others because they don't matter at the end of the day. Unless someone's helping you pay your bills, like there's not a whole lot you could do with their opinions. Right. Unless it's people in your life that are in your circle that you know have your back and are rooting for you to win.
That's key.
And effort has to be there. Stop making excuses. I don't know anybody that's like gotten to accomplish a goal or reach their goal with excuses. Nope. It does not happen. Effort, expectation. You got to get active.
You got to. You said something I thought was really important is to make sure you have somebody in your corner who has your back, who supports you. Because the best way to kill a dream is to tell somebody who's not even a dreamer. You know what I mean? You have the best. You tell somebody you got this grand idea, and you tell them like, "Oh my God, I got a great idea. And I think it's slamming."
Yeah.
And you tell this person, and they'll just make you feel like everything you said you went from here to
just deflated you. Yep.
Bam.
Yeah.
And now at that point never to tell that person.
Yeah, that can happen too. Yeah.
So you gotta make sure you put somebody in your life that you are excited about telling your good news. You gotta make sure you are telling somebody who's gonna give you honest.
I love that. That's
opinion.
Great advice. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Advice. Somebody can be like, "Oh, you better think this through." You know?
Yeah.
I've always done that. Like if I come up with an idea, I throw it off, bounce it off of people to see kind of what people think of it.
Yeah.
But if I told somebody and they immediately just kill me off the back, I'm gonna be like, "You a hater." I immediately give hater vibes. Like, hey, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
But keep somebody in your corner that really cares
and take care of that relationship.
Absolutely.
Because again, like when you're trying to go for, I don't know. Let me say this. Every opportunity I've had in life, a lot of it has come from my network. So either my friends, people that they know, and it's because like I took care of those relationships. So when you're telling people that like to get active, also be very mindful of the fact that like you need to take care of your relationships. You need to understand the importance of being able to have a solid network of people. And man, relationships right now are currency. Like relationships are huge when you're looking to change your circumstances, go after a goal, because a lot of times you're going to have to call somebody for some help, some advice, something.
Yeah.
But if you haven't taken care of those relationships, they won't be there.
They're gone.
Yeah.
So I was into this podcast, and I'm sorry I forgot the guy's name, but he said something that really stood out to me. And he said successful people are hyper-focused on intention and they ignore distractions.
Ooh.
While the average person, they're hyper-focused on distractions and ignore intentions. I'm going to say that one more time.
I love that.
Successful people are hyper-focused on intention and ignore distractions, while the average person is hyper-focused on distractions and ignore intentions. I thought that was deep.
Yeah.
I thought that was deep.
Yeah.
And the average person could get hyper focused on distractions, just like going on social media.
Easy.
Every day.
Anything. Social media,
right?
Television. We have so many distractions now.
So I thought that was key to say, to be at the end of this, is to say be intentional. Be
intentional. Have that tunnel vision when you need to get towards a goal. Like block out the noise, block out the distractions.
Yeah.
And then back to our acronym, you got to be active. Every day you got to wake up and you got to be active. You got to get active. Got to get after it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we going to tell our audience? How can y'all be active? Y'all tell us. How do y'all get active?
Right.
Using the acronyms. How do y'all get active? Tell us about it. Tell us a way you get active. Put some motivation down in the comments. Somebody might read it. Somebody might fill out like, damn, I like that story.
I would love that. You know? Please share those things. If you have a motivational speaker you listen to,
oh man,
you had any great books that you read, anything that that gives you that drive, please share. We'd love to hear. Like, subscribe, share. We appreciate you guys for listening.
We on all listening platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube.
I love it. Just go look outside. You can find us.
Thank y'all for listening.
Just Two Scorpios.
Stay tuned for the next episode.
Let's go.